And just as that works in the schoolroom, that works in life too. If you encourage people rather than scold them, praise them for those things you want to see in them. In other words, when they do come home early, just show them how much you appreciate that. You know, when your kid does do well, great, wonderful, praise them. But please don't always keep demanding your kid comes, you know, in the top 5%. That's one of the things I said both in Singapore and Sri Lanka on this trip. If your child comes in the top 5% on TEE or at school, or in the bottom 5%, they're not a good Buddhist. If your child comes in the top 5% or bottom 5%, they're not good Buddhists. Buddhists believe in the middle way. To come in the centre somewhere, that's a good Buddhist, the middle way. You know, you're supposed to avoid extremes. And it's true, because the kids in the top 5%, sometimes they get so stressed out trying to keep, you know, up there, and the bottom 5% think they're useless. No, both. You know, the top 5% and the bottom 5%, they're all freaks, they're not normal. So when you look at it that way, you understand what the Buddha meant by the middle way, and it takes away all this pressure on achieving. If you get there naturally, fine, but if you have to work so hard and stretch yourself out and create so many emotional problems, that's not a good thing to do. But that encouragement of right speech and kind speech and gentle speech, people don't realize how powerful that is. You know, I gave a talk in my monastery last night down at Serpentine about the power of gentle, sort of loving, kind speech. Because what it is get everybody behind you. They want to work with you, rather than having this terrible antagonistic speech, which is always putting people down, always trying to control them, scold them through anger, through fear, to see who can shout the loudest, or who can actually be the most cutting in their satire, their cynicism. And sometimes, you know, no matter how good your English language is, there's always somebody who, you know, who's more sharp with the way they use the words. You can't beat sort of that Oscar Wilde. His greatest put down I ever heard, when he came out of some sort of nightclub or some bar completely drunk. And of course, and this was a time when being drunk was even worse as a social stigma than it is today. Actually, probably in Australia it's not a social stigma at all, but an accolade. But anyway, in those days when being drunk was considered to be sort of socially unacceptable, he came out drunk and this woman said to him, "Sir, you're drunk." And he replied, "Madam, you're ugly." And then the kidding phrase was, "And the difference between us, in the morning I'll be sober." Now that is a good example of harsh speech. Not the sort of thing a Buddhist would do.